Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your Daily Bite of Degen, episode 434, coming to you live from the SBF trial. It is Friday, midday review. We have just a quick minute because we have to get back to court. The judge ordered a staunch 1:30 start back up. The day started back with both the prosecution and defense going over yesterday's special hearing on whether or not to allow testimony from Sam concerning certain things, mostly around the fact of having an attorney giving him direction and reviews, whether or not because he was not able to give those direction, what attorneys necessarily gave him that information or what information it was clearly. At the end of it all, despite all the shortfalls of answers, the judge did grant the defense's motion. At 9:55, they did bring the jury in. And some of the pieces that was sort of quick, around 11:02 is when we had our first break of the day. And then also from there, we got to do that. There we go. After that, we did have a little bit of talk about different definitions of things and that what each thing was sort of breaking down. Some of the things that Sam did touch on was around the risk engine that they created and what set them apart, making their own margin platform. And this is the funny thing, where originally when they created FTX, the main idea behind that was actually to make it and sell it specifically to Binance, as it was based in Hong Kong. After Sam sort of decided after going to a blockchain conference there that that's sort of where he wanted to be, and he said how quickly he was able to get business done with some of the other exchanges that he had been having issues with from Alameda. But the big piece on this was the what started the SBF CZ beef. Was there promises made or conversations of promises? But one of the things that he talked about, and you could sort of tell on his face that he did not like, was that Binance ended up going with an internal team to building their own margin platform instead of, buying FTX. And so, he talked about how his greatest fear was that they weren't going to have any users, and that after a few months, but that's quickly changed between 2019, 2020, and 21. Where eventually in 2021, they were taking in over $3 million a day in just fees, going from several million to over 100 million in 2022 or 2020 to over $1 billion in fees in 2021. And then they sort of talked a little bit about how did FTX protect customer assets, some of those things. There were a lot of objections from the prosecution on different things when they were asking certain questions about why, when Sam would start to deviate from the question, that he was grandstanding in a way, sort of, was the biggest piece. We were out here we got here at 3:30 this morning, and it was packed. By 9 a.m. we had over 100 people from reporters to the general public. So there are over 100 people in the courtroom watching Sam. And it started off with the prosecution talking about, motions and hand motions and animations coming on from inside the courtroom yesterday towards Sam. Whether it was calm down, or what those hand signals were. The prosecution wanted to point that out and had the judge clearly state to everyone to not do that anymore. That was a very interesting piece. But one of the funniest questions, I think, of the day was, did you have as they went through every sort of department within FTX, it was, do you have a risk management team? That's got a little bit of a funny illicit response from the crowd, as well as from Sam, where we sure should have, but we did not. And so this was sort of like the piece where, Cohen sort of decided to change tracks a little bit, because it has literally been it has been a long drawn out of boringness. I apologize. There has not really been anything cool, interesting. I did sort of see this animation piece on Sam when talking about selling FTX to Binance, and that's the only really big thing that I've picked up so far. What everyone is really waiting for is the butchering plan by the prosecution on the cross, and the fact we can see the prosecution taking notes on almost everything that he is saying, trying to find something that is outside of the scope that's been covered so far, so that they can open the door. They hope they even, might touch on something around Caroline Ellison's diary or something along those lines that will allow them to ask and sort of nail Sam to the wall in a way that they haven't been able to yet. They did, sort of do that at the end of their special hearing yesterday, asking about the, whether or not he knew about illicit drug use and, criminal activities from some of the attorneys. But it has been, we've just seen the prosecution lay out objections to many times when Sam would go deeper into a question than what was asked. And so that has been one of the things that we've really seen, as he's just been breaking out what, the code looks like, database rooms, order books, and explaining AMMs. It has been a very interesting piece of definitions. And so far, my definition of this morning has been, oh, you don't have a defense, do you? But no, once again, there was an interesting sidebar that was called by the prosecution, and in that sidebar, it was pulled by the defense that the prosecution is taking a stance that FTX was a scam from the start. The intentions behind it were illicit, and that was the full reason that FTX was formed. Obviously, the prosecution denied that, but then they, the defense tried to push that for a second. Kaplan shut it down, and it has just been a long moment period. One of the funnier moments, in Kaplan's style was when Sam was talking about market manipulation, and Cohen was directing him to sort of explain what market manipulation looked like and protections that FTX had in place for that. As Sam started to go, Kaplan sort of shut him off and redefined, because in legal definitions, manipulation and market manipulation have a clear cut and dry definition that cannot be deviated from. And so Kaplan made a strong definition of the difference between what Sam was talking about and instructions to the jury on that. So we will come back to you at the end of day, hopefully with something new and interesting. But as we wait to see the prosecution come back with that cross, we will be ready, and we will see you then. As always, have a wonderful day, and we will see you around 4:30 p.m. EST to 5 p.m. EST is when we're hoping to get out of court today, but we will see. Kaplan might end the day a little bit early before the prosecution takes over, but we know the prosecution, they are ready to go. They are ready for blood, and they want to throw some punches. As always, a closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth, meaning if no one knows you're looking for opportunity cannot come a knocking. And if opportunity does come a knocking, no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. And as always, we end with the greatest, worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet. I want to thank everyone from YouTube, Rumble, Unlonely, Twitter, Twitch, Telegram, Discord for joining us today. And we will see you on the great side of later today. Knock, knock. Who's there?